My name is Joan Halifax. I'm the abbot of Upaya Zen Center in Santa Fe. And within view is Los Alamos and Los Alamos National Laboratory. I'm the place, one of several that is involved in the production of weapons of mass destruction. And we're here today on this very important Memorial Day, the 75th anniversary since the bombing of Hiroshima, and several days later, the bombing of Nagasaki. August 6th, 8:15 in the morning, Japanese time. A U.S. plane dropped a bomb named Little Boy over the center of the city of Hiroshima. And we know the story, Little Boy, a name that sounds so innocent. But the bomb, it was named for, wrought destruction, death, and suffering that is unimaginable. And over the next 2 to 4 months, the bombs dropped on Japan, killed between 90,000 and 146,000 people in Hiroshima, and between 30 and 80,000 people in Nagasaki. And roughly half of those deaths happened the day the bombs were dropped. Some claim that these bombs were responsible for ending the war quickly and saving Japanese and American lives. The most unfortunate theory justifying horrific violence against innocent civilians. And others suggest that the weapons had to be tested as a matter of necessity. Whatever the rationale, the dropping of weapons of mass destruction on these two Japanese cities actually ushered in a new era where the human inclination toward violence can now destroy the entire human race and make the earth completely uninhabitable except for a few resilient species. I'm a Buddhist. I'm speaking also as an elder who was alive during the time these bombs were dropped, and where I also know people who were alive at the time in Japan and who suffered the effects of these bombs. The bombs dropped on Hiroshima had a destructive force of 12.5 kilotons. But the missiles of today, they can deliver bombs that have the power of 100 to 170 kilotons, with the potential of totally leveling everything within a 50-mile radius and wreaking utter destruction, extending hundreds of miles with widespread heat, with firestorms, with neutron and gamma rays that will kill or severely wound or poison every living thing in their path. By any standard of proof, these bombs constitute genocide and terroricide. And Philip Berrigan, close friend of Father John Deers and the great voice in this area, has said that nuclear weapons are the scourge of the earth. And I concur with his evaluation. Clearly, all war and conflict at national and international levels in the last quarter of the 20th century and the first quarter of our century in this millennium has taken on extraordinary and sinister proportions. Human nature has not changed, but the resources at our disposal have. And to put it directly and to put it simply, no country is free from the threat of nuclear annihilation. Now that's the bad news. What is the good news? You are the good news. You're here today. The transformation of structures of violence to structures of peace, that transformation will come about because of you. and because of me, and because of all of us, and through each of us. This is about actualizing in the details of our lived experience respect, integrity, empathy, courage, compassion, and wisdom, and affirming the value put on these human qualities. And it is there reflected in all of the religious and spiritual traditions of the world. And it is there for us to recall, affirm, and also to live. And this is why we're here today. We have made a choice to be people dedicated to the cultivation of love and wisdom in an ever-increasing connected world. And in our lifetime, we've experienced enormous phase shifts. I say, do not be discouraged. Do not lose your courage. This is actually a time of great hope. I mean, the Berlin Wall came down, and so many other extraordinary moments in the past decades. But what also has come down are the walls that separate us from each other, from this earth, from our basic nature of goodness. We're standing now at a time when there is extraordinary potential for actualizing peace globally, not only locally, and to realize fundamental nonviolence in our world today. You know, we also know that every human being has the right to be free from fear. Freedom from fear means that we live in a world where basic human needs are being met and where well-being is considered a priority not only for the human species, but for all species. Because we're not only living in the threat of nuclear annihilation, but also we're in the middle of a climate catastrophe. And we need to take the reins of our greed, of our hatred and delusion, and to pull ourselves to a stop so that we can look deeply at what it means to recognize and actualize our deepest humanity. I think also now we have to recognize the extreme importance of cultivating moral sensitivity so we can see clearly the contours of harm and also the contours of potential goodness, which are to be actualized. And we also have to resolve in our own lives, but also in terms of our educational systems, our medical systems, to affirm the importance of the development of moral character so we can live in the values of wisdom and of compassion that make it possible for the survival of the future of our children. You know, I'm a Zen person. I've been in this practice for 50 years. I came to understand that living by vow reflects our ability to be guided by our deepest values and to be conscientious and to connect to who we really are. So the call I feel that we're facing today is to recognize and actualize our basic humanity, to be people of peace, to work for the ending of violence in our world, to dial down the military-industrial system, to face the challenges of an economic system of oppression, to forge a new economy, a local and a global economy that is an economy of peace. And we know that indifference kills. It kills both directly and indirectly. So in service to peace, in service to nonviolence, in service to life, please let us all live by vow. The vow to actualize our basic humanity. The vow to cultivate a world for future generations that is livable, that is sane, and that is characterized by love and wisdom. And this is what I have faith in. I have faith in this. You know, at the end of a day of practice at my monastery, Upaya Zen Center, we chant what's called the night chant. And the words of that chant are this: life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly, and opportunity is lost. Let us awaken. Awaken. Do not squander your life. And in that phrase, do not squander your life, I would also reflect, do not squander the life of others. I think this is the Dharma of Jesus, the Dharma of Mohammed, the Dharma of Buddha, the Dharma of each other. Thank you for living by vow.